passion that he's bringing to that franchise.
All right, let's go back over to the NFL. There are at least 6 quarterbacks making their playoff debut this weekend as we wait to see who will start for the Ravens. The marquee matchup of young quarterbacks features Justin Herbert, who will become the youngest starting quarterback in the Chargers' playoff history, and Trevor Lawrence, who would join Mike Vick as the only other number 1 overall pick to win a playoff game before turning 24. So knowing that, Marcus, I'm going to start with you here. Which quarterback do you think is going to have the best playoff debut?
Brock Purdy for the San Francisco 49ers. And it has nothing to do with him being more talented than these other quarterbacks. It's just the system he plays in and what he's surrounded with. We've seen this young man, and I don't want to take credit away from him. He's done a tremendous job coming in for Jimmy Garoppolo after that injury. But you see the success of what Kyle Shanahan does. We've sat on this show a million times and talked about how responsible is Jimmy Garoppolo for the success of the San Francisco 49ers. And everybody agrees that Jimmy Garoppolo did a good job for the San Francisco 49ers. They went to a Super Bowl, they got to another NFC Championship game, but they weren't able to get over the hump. But as far as success, he was able to have a tremendous amount. I do believe that Brock Purdy and his ability and what they're doing offensively with Kyle Shanahan, he's going to push the ball down the field a little bit more. We saw him have a tremendous amount of success against Seattle the first time they played. So he's going back to the well, surrounded by Christian McCaffrey. Might I add, in that game against the Seattle Seahawks, he didn't have Deebo Samuel in that game. George Kittle and him have a great connection. Him and Brandon Ayuk are playing well together. But he's in a situation where all you have to do is facilitate as a point guard. I'm going to Stephen A's world when he starts talking about basketball. Yeah, it might not be guarding numbers. It might not be anything crazy that stands out. But I do believe that 200 yards passing with 2 touchdowns and a victory in your first round when some of these other guys are going to have to fight a little bit harder, may be prone to make a mistake or two in those situations, will cost them the opportunity to have a better playoff debut. I got Brock Purdy for the 49ers.
I get you. I get where you're coming from. I get your points. But I'm going to go the route of Justin Herbert. Jacksonville is there for the first time in a while. They led by a rookie quarterback. I love Trevor Lawrence. I believe in the brother, but this is his first experience. And although I think he's going to have a good game, I don't think he's going to be flawless. I think there's going to be opportunities there for Justin Herbert to shine and remind everybody who the hell he is. And the fact that this is his coming out party as well. And unlike Trevor Lawrence, we've seen him perform, please don't get me wrong, but we've really, really seen Justin Herbert in his young career step up and win some big games, or go toe-to-toe with the likes of a Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow and others, Josh Allen and others. We've seen Justin Herbert do this. And to go against a Jacksonville squad that's young, that's spry, that's anxious to show themselves, all of that stuff is true. You know what? You're going to make some mistakes along the way. And I think that Justin Herbert is going to have his coming out party. It's not going to be a blowout. I think it's going to be a thrilling game. It's a pick'em game. They're going to go back and forth. But I think that Justin Herbert is going to put the world on notice. We've been talking about Patrick Mahomes. We've been talking about Joe Burrow. We've been talking about Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and all of these other cats. Did y'all forget about me? I'm here. And remember, the only thing that really throws me off is that damn Brandon Staley. I don't understand why you got Mike Williams in the game last year and you keeping him in the game, ultimately get him hurt and he's questionable with his back injury. So what the hell was he doing out there for? And then on top of it all, you playing your starters. You got Justin Herbert throwing the ball 37 damn times in a meaningless game, and y'all end up losing the damn game he was playing, which was the last game of the regular season. Thank God Justin Herbert didn't get hurt. That's just dumb. Brandon Staley, I'm quite listen. He's got a lot of potential, even though I don't know if he'll be there because I think he'll be fired if they lose this game. He will be gone if they lose this game. I think that's why Sean Payton is right there in L.A. lurking. Make no sense. He might be gone. They win the damn game for crying out loud. I mean, I'm just saying because he's no Sean Payton. He's young. He's got potential. But damn, I just look at it from that perspective. And I'm just saying, I look at Eckler. Eckler's got like 722 yards receiving, if I remember, something like that this year. He's pass catching out of the backfield. Plus, we know he can run. Keenan Allen is no joke. Why he was in the game last week, he had 8 receptions for 122 yards and was targeted 11 times. Why? when you got a playoff game coming. It makes no sense whatsoever. But it is what it is. I think Justin Herbert comes out. I think he has his requisite weapons, and I think he shows what he's all about. And the Chargers advance.
Can I say something real quick?
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Stephen A., I love. See, now we same page, big bro. I love what you said about Sean Payton lurking around the Chargers. Justin Herbert and Sean Payton would be a menace in the AFC. That would have sent them in our conversation to being on the level with the Andy Reids of the world, with what we've seen Josh Allen have the opportunity to do offensively. That would have sent them to that conversation. That is a very, very strong conversation when you think about what could potentially happen in this playoff game.
And you know what else too? And we don't say this enough. Everyone acts like you have to fail flagrantly to be fired. No. Sometimes somebody else is just better that comes along. Mm-hmm. We're not going to sit up here, even though we've got question marks with Brandon Staley and some of the decisions that he's made. We're not going to ignore the fact that they're game better than they were last year. And this year they're in the playoffs, and last year they weren't. But they were fighting for a playoff spot last year, despite the bevy of injuries that they had available to them. But this organization re-signed Derwin James. They brought Khalil Mack. They brought that cat over for the New England Patriots to add in Jackson to add to their secondary. You look at the money that they spent. You look at the personnel they got on the defensive side of the ball. Both of their receivers got more than $100 million contracts. You got Justin Herbert, who is a clear, flat-out stud. Let me tell you something. There is such a thing as, no disrespect to you, Brandon Staley, but Sean Payton's better. We know it. Yeah. And we got to send a message that we maximizing the potential of this star. We talk about what Lamar Jackson can do, but we hope to see it because durability.
This would be a monumental upset in the cold weather, traveling. They haven't done well in either recently, and now they don't have Tua. And the Bills are rallying around DeMar Hamlin. Anyway, we're the preseason pick for most people, and the favorites. Bills all day. Next up.
Giants at Vikings.
I love this game. The Giants weren't sniffing the playoffs last year, just like Peterson shows up and boom, Daboll shows up, same thing, except without the talent that Peterson has overall. Meantime, Minnesota's favored by a field goal at home to be expected. It's about an even matchup, and Minnesota's at home. They're minus 165 on the money line, and the Giants are plus $140. So they're like slight favorites. I tell you what, it took a 62-yard field goal to beat the Giants last time. Man, I like my guys here.
I do. I like the Giants in this situation, too. I feel like their secondary getting some of those guys back, Adoree Jackson and company. I feel like defensively they could do some things, put some pressure on Minnesota. Minnesota's really good when people come at them with pressure. They don't shy away from blitzing and Kirk Cousins and Jamar Jefferson. But in this situation, I'm just going to take the Giants.
Yeah, plus Giants got 4 legit, and 3 of them are healthy, pass rushers up front. It's a whole lot. All right. Finally,
Ravens at Bengals.
And this kills me, Key, because Ravens were my preseason pick, and Lamar already got. Let's not forget, when Lamar and the Ravens beat Joe Burrow and the Bengals, Lamar outplayed Joe Burrow down the stretch in that game. And I mean, with Lamar, you always got a shot. Key, they don't have him.
No, and it looks like Huntley may be the guy. He practiced yesterday. Yeah. So I'm taking Cincinnati. I mean, they got the better skill position players on the perimeter. They have their quarterback. They're healthy. I'm going with Cincinnati in this situation. And Baltimore, maybe it's a different game because they kind of know each other a little bit, and maybe all of a sudden Huntley does some spectacular stuff if he's the guy at the quarterback spot and the defense creates a couple turnovers. Other than that, Cincinnati should win the game.
Huntley has some talent, and if you squint, it's like, wait, that's kind of like, no, it's not the results are just not the same. But, you know, I like the Bengals all day and the Bills all day, primarily because of the injuries to the quarterbacks. But I might like them anyway in those. Like, you know, there's good reasons to pick those teams anyway. But now when the other team don't have their starting quarterback, let's get realistic. Be a part of Keyshawn J. Willimax Nation on the Dr. Pepper call-in line, 888-SAY-ESPN. But upsets do happen, and this would be huge upsets. These would be 888-729-3776. ESPN Nation's presented by Dr. Pepper. It ain't college football season without the delicious taste of an ice cold Dr. Pepper, the one fans deserve. All right, coming up next, here's the question. Have we seen